Why the attack on crypto in the United States continues, from the office of Gary Gensler himself.
If I could just note something about you mentioned your hearing about the recent events in the markets, and I would note there were 3 banks that failed in those handful of days, those 4 or 5 days. And 2 of those banks, the first and the third that failed, Silvergate and Signature, were engaged in the crypto business. I mean, some would say they were, crypto banks. So it's interesting just how this was all had some crypto narrative as well.
It is a misnomer that the failure of Signature Bank was related to crypto. What we saw with Signature Bank is that it had a new-fashioned bank run, and the outflow of deposits were from a broad depositor base, including wholesale food vendors, fiduciaries, trust accounts, law firms. And in fact, the outflow of crypto deposits were in exact proportion to their representation in the depositor base overall. And in fact, some of those deposit outflows were actually pre-planned. So it's, of course, unfortunate that there was a run on the bank at Signature prompted by what we saw with SVB, but it is not the case that the failure of Signature was related to crypto.
China appears to be doing the opposite. As you can see right here, Hong Kong lawmaker invites Coinbase to apply to operate in the region. Hong Kong's Securities and Futures Commission, the SFC, began accepting applications for crypto trading platform licenses on June the 1st. Crypto firms which get registered under this license will be able to serve retail customers in the country and will need to comply with rules that prohibit crypto incentives like airdrops. In another even more bullish news, Bank of China issues 28 million in digital structured notes on the Ethereum blockchain. On June the 12th, Bank of China's investment bank subsidiary BOCI announced the issuance of 200 million Chinese yuan, $28 million worth of digital structured notes minted on the Ethereum blockchain. The move makes BOCI the first Chinese financial institution to issue a tokenized security in Hong Kong. What surprises me about this whole thing is that the chair of the SEC, Gary Gensler himself, a few years back used to give some positive vibes about crypto.
Governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT that I work with. Sylvia's got a great technology that has performance. You could create Uber on top of it. The question is then who would update this? But the riddle remained, how do you move money on the internet? Or in essence, how do you move value peer-to-peer without a centralized intermediary? And that's the core of blockchain technology. So who solved the riddle?
And now in 2023, and we hear stuff like this, makes me wonder why all of this.
Last month, CFTC Chair Benham expressed his view that Ether is a commodity. The State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
Actually, all securities are commodity under the Commodity and Exchange Act. It's that we are excluded commodities. But I would agree that a security cannot be also an excluded commodity and an included commodity. I'm sorry, Chair, just to talk about the Commodity Exchange Act more precisely.
Okay, so do you recognize, how would you categorize Ether then?
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to any one.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
asking
middle,
about one.
The public is anticipating a profit based on the...
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals...
I'm asking you about the facts and the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also.
But you have
aware-
prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is
All right, so let me just ask a second question.
The US Congressman files legislation to fire the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler. From Warren Davidson himself, today I filed the SEC Stabilization Act to restructure the SEC. The US capital markets must be protected from a tyrannical chairman, including the current one. It is time for real reforms and to fire Gary Gensler as the chair of the SEC. It is quite interesting to know there are some people who are willing to fight for crypto, which means all hope is not yet lost for the goal towards crypto adoption in the United States. Let's see what happens. This is it for this video. This is Briggs LBs, and this is a guy Ken signing off.